Welcome back to our channel, Mars Sunset Media. Today, we are diving into the harrowing and often tragic world of maritime disasters. In this video, we'll be counting down the top 10 most fatal commercial shipping accidents in history. Imagine being aboard a massive vessel in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by the seemingly endless expanse of water. Suddenly, catastrophe strikes. An explosion, a collision, or a deadly fire. From catastrophic collisions and devastating fires to unexpected wartime attacks, these incidents have left an indelible mark on the maritime industry and have had profound implications for safety regulations and practices at sea. Each disaster tells a story of human tragedy, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of safer seas. So stay tuned as we explore these monumental events that not only shaped maritime history, but also highlighted the critical need for improvements in ship safety and emergency response. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our deep dives into history's most impactful events. Now let's set sail and uncover the stories behind these devastating maritime tragedies. 10. RMS Lusitania. Date: May 7, 1915. Location: near the coast of Ireland. Fatalities: 1,198. The RMS Lusitania, a British ocean liner, was sunk by a German U-boat U-20 during World War I. The Lusitania was en route from New York to Liverpool, carrying 1,962 passengers and crew. Despite warnings about German submarines in the area, the ship continued its journey. On May 7, 1915, it was struck by a torpedo off the coast of Ireland. The torpedo hit the starboard side, causing a second, larger explosion, likely due to the ship's ammunition cargo, and the Lusitania sank within 18 minutes. The rapid sinking prevented many lifeboats from being launched, resulting in the deaths of 1,198 people, including 128 Americans. The tragedy caused international outrage, particularly in the United States, where it shifted public opinion against Germany and contributed to the eventual U.S. entry into World War I. The sinking of the Lusitania highlighted the dangers of unrestricted submarine warfare and underscored the vulnerability of civilian ships during wartime. The incident remains one of the most significant maritime disasters and a poignant reminder of the horrors of war at sea. 9. SS Qianja. Date: December 4, 1948. Location: near Shanghai, China. Fatalities: 2,750 to 3,920. The SS Qianja was a Chinese passenger steamship operating during the Chinese Civil War. On December 4, 1948, while en route from Shanghai to Ningpo, the vessel struck a leftover mine from World War II. The explosion caused the ship to break apart and sink quickly in the Huangpu River, near Shanghai. The SS Qianja was overcrowded with passengers fleeing the advancing communist forces, many of whom were unable to escape the rapidly sinking ship. The exact number of fatalities remains uncertain, but estimates range from 2,750 to 3,920. The disaster is one of the deadliest maritime incidents in Chinese history and highlights the ongoing dangers posed by unexploded ordnance from past conflicts. The SS Qianja tragedy underscored the need for better post-war mine clearance operations and improved maritime safety protocols. The incident is remembered as a significant maritime disaster and a tragic episode in the turbulent period of the Chinese Civil War. 8. RMS Titanic. Date: April 15, 1912. Location: North Atlantic Ocean. Fatalities: 1,517. The RMS Titanic, the world's largest and most luxurious ocean liner of its time, embarked on its maiden voyage from Southampton to New York City on April 10, 1912. Designed with advanced safety features and deemed unsinkable, the Titanic was ill-prepared for the unforeseen disaster ahead. On the night of April 14, the ship collided with an iceberg, which caused a series of breaches along its starboard side. The ship's insufficient number of lifeboats and the lack of effective evacuation procedures led to a chaotic and tragic scene. As the Titanic sank in the early hours of April 15, 1,517 passengers and crew perished in the icy waters of the North Atlantic. The disaster was a watershed moment for maritime safety, leading to significant changes in international maritime regulations, including the establishment of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea. Alas, the Titanic's sinking remains one of the most famous and harrowing maritime disasters, symbolizing human hubris and the unforeseen power of nature. 7. SS Sultana. Date: April 27, 1865. Location: Mississippi River, United States. Fatalities: 1,168. The SS Sultana, a paddle-wheel steamboat, was carrying an estimated 2,300 recently released Union prisoners of war, along with other passengers and crew, when disaster struck. On April 27, 1865, the Sultana's boilers exploded while it was navigating the Mississippi River near Memphis, Tennessee. The explosion caused a massive fire that quickly consumed the wooden vessel. Many passengers were killed instantly by the blast, while others were thrown into the river or trapped in the ensuing fire. The disaster resulted in the deaths of approximately 1,168 people, making it the deadliest maritime disaster in U.S. history. The Sultana was grossly overloaded and in poor mechanical condition, and the explosion was later attributed to a combination of boiler malfunctions and poor maintenance. The tragedy of the SS Sultana highlighted the need for stricter regulations and inspections for passenger vessels, and remains a poignant reminder of the risks associated with river travel during the steamboat era. If you are enjoying this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to stay updated with our latest releases. Thank you to everyone that have already subscribed. 6. MV Doña Paz. Date: December 20, 1987. Location: Tablas Strait, Philippines. Fatalities: 4,386. The MV Doña Paz was a passenger ferry operating in the Philippines. On December 20, 1987, while en route from Leyte Island to Manila, the ferry collided with the MT Vector, an oil tanker carrying 8,800 barrels of petroleum products. The collision caused a massive fire that quickly spread to both vessels. The MV Doña Paz was severely overcrowded, with many passengers listed unofficially. The fire and subsequent sinking of the ferry resulted in the deaths of 4,386 people, making it the deadliest peacetime maritime disaster in history. The disaster was exacerbated by the lack of adequate safety measures, including insufficient life vests and lifeboats, and the poor emergency response. The tragedy of the MV Doña Paz prompted widespread criticism and led to calls for improved maritime safety standards and stricter enforcement of passenger limits. The incident remains a devastating reminder of the consequences of lax safety regulations and oversight in the maritime industry. 5. SS Mont-Blanc. Date: December 6, 1917. Location: Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Fatalities: 2,000. The SS Mont-Blanc, a French cargo ship loaded with explosives, was involved in one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. On December 6, 1917, the Mont-Blanc collided with the Norwegian vessel SS Immo in the busy Halifax harbor. The collision caused a fire on the Mont-Blanc, which quickly ignited its cargo of benzol, picric acid, and TNT. The resulting explosion was catastrophic, leveling much of the city of Halifax, killing approximately 2,000 people and injuring over 9,000. The blast generated a shockwave that caused a tsunami, further devastating the surrounding area. Buildings were destroyed and debris was scattered for miles. The fires caused by the explosion burned for days, compounding the destruction and loss of life. The Halifax explosion highlighted the dangers of transporting and handling large quantities of explosives, particularly in populated areas. The disaster prompted significant changes in maritime safety regulations and emergency response protocols, underscoring the need for better communication and coordination among ships in busy harbors. 4. MV Wilhelm Gustloff. Date: January 30, 1945. Location: Baltic Sea. Fatalities: 9,343. The MV Wilhelm Gustloff was a German military transport ship used during World War II to evacuate civilians and military personnel from East Prussia ahead of the advancing Soviet forces. On January 30, 1945, while carrying over 10,000 passengers, the ship was torpedoed by the Soviet submarine S-13 in the icy waters of the Baltic Sea. The Wilhelm Gustloff was severely overcrowded, and the torpedoes caused it to sink rapidly in the frigid conditions. Approximately 9,343 people perished in the disaster, making it the deadliest maritime disaster in history. The majority of the victims were civilians, including many women and children. The sinking of the Wilhelm Gustloff was a tragic culmination of the chaos and desperation of the war's final months. The disaster underscored the horrors of war and the immense human cost of large-scale evacuations under perilous conditions. It remains a poignant reminder of the vulnerability of civilian populations during armed conflicts. 3. SS Cap Arcona. Date: May 3, 1945. Location: Baltic Sea. Fatalities: 5,000 to 7,000. The SS Cap Arcona was a German luxury liner repurposed by the Nazis to transport concentration camp prisoners during World War II. On May 3, 1945, the ship was bombed by the Royal Air Force while anchored in the Baltic Sea. The Cap Arcona was carrying thousands of prisoners from the Neuengamme concentration camp, who were crammed into its holds. The bombing set the ship on fire, and the prisoners, many of whom were already weakened and malnourished, were unable to escape. The ship sank, and the cold waters claimed the lives of between 5,000 and 7,000 people. The exact number of fatalities remains uncertain due to the chaotic nature of the evacuation and the lack of precise records. The Cap Arcona disaster occurred just days before the end of the war in Europe, adding to the tragedy of the event. It highlighted the brutality and desperation of the final days of the Nazi regime and remains one of the deadliest maritime disasters in history. 2. SS General Slocum. Date: June 15, 1904. Location: East River, New York City, United States. Fatalities: 1,021. The SS General Slocum was a passenger steamboat that caught fire while on a chartered cruise carrying members of a German-American church on June 15, 1904. The fire, which started in a storage compartment, spread rapidly due to the highly flammable paint and decorations on the ship. The life-saving equipment on the General Slocum was inadequate and poorly maintained, with life vests that disintegrated upon use and lifeboats that were inaccessible. The steamboat was navigating the East River in New York City when the fire broke out, and despite the proximity to shore, rescue efforts were hampered by the intense flames and the panicked passengers. The disaster resulted in the deaths of 1,021 people, primarily women and children. The SS General Slocum tragedy led to significant reforms in maritime safety regulations in the United States, including stricter standards for life-saving equipment and regular inspections of passenger vessels. The incident remains one of the deadliest maritime disasters in American history. 1. MV Goya. Date: April 16, 1945. Location: Baltic Sea. Fatalities: 6,000 to 7,000. The MV Goya, a German transport ship, was involved in one of the deadliest maritime disasters during World War II. On April 16, 1945, The Goya was evacuating civilians and military personnel from East Prussia as Soviet forces advanced. The ship was heavily overcrowded, with an estimated 7,000 to 7,200 people on board. While navigating the icy waters of the Baltic Sea, the Goya was torpedoed by the Soviet submarine L-3. The impact caused the ship to sink rapidly, and the freezing conditions of the sea further decreased the chances of survival for those thrown overboard. The disaster resulted in the deaths of an estimated 6,000 to 7,000 people, making it one of the worst maritime tragedies in history. The sinking of the MV Goya occurred in the chaotic final days of World War II, highlighting the desperation and human cost of mass evacuations under dire circumstances. The tragedy remains a somber reminder of the immense suffering endured during the war and the vulnerabilities of civilian populations caught in its crossfire. As we journey through these tragic tales of the sea, we've seen how each disaster not only resulted in heartbreaking loss, but also led to significant changes in maritime safety standards. These incidents remind us of the dangers that come with seafaring and the importance of ongoing vigilance and improvement in safety protocols. The stories of the Titanic, Doña Paz, and Wilhelm Gustloff, among others, are somber reminders of the human cost of these accidents and the resilience of those who survived. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends and family. Your support helps us bring more content that explores history's most significant and impactful events. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Leave a comment below to share your thoughts on these maritime tragedies or suggest other topics you'd like us to cover. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.